Right. Welcome back to Culture Voice Reviews. Thank you so much for pressing on the video and being here with us today. So today we're checking out a video by Top 10 Wrestling called The Enemies of Jim Cornette. So without any further ado, let's get into it.
Jim Cornette is a man who needs no introduction. A polarizing figure of the wrestling world, Jim Cornette has never been shy about his opinions on numerous other wrestlers and wrestling personalities,
that
and has
is.
made a lot of enemies over the years as a result of doing so. And today, we're going to be talking about a few of Jim Cornette's most notable enemies. Make sure to subscribe right now because I know the majority of you watching aren't already, and let's get into the video. Ryan Satin is a wrestling journalist who began his career at TMZ. After working at TMZ for 6 years, he found the wrestling dirt sheet site ProWrestlingSheet.com in 2015, which was sold to Collider in 2018. In 2019, he was hired as a news correspondent for WWE Backstage on Fox before that got cancelled in 2021, and nowadays he hosts a weekly podcast on the WWE on Fox YouTube channel. Ryan Satin is a man who's also been involved in his fair share of controversy. Perhaps the biggest controversy he's been involved in was when he reported a story that Sasha Banks and Bayley were reportedly crying and screaming on the locker room floor at WrestleMania 35.
Yeah, that was an unfair
and they
story.
found out they were losing the women's tag team
Because
titles.
he pointed out
to
that
the
later today they
Iconics.
weren't.
This was denied by Sasha and Bayley and proven false when a photo of Sasha and Bayley posing with the Iconics post-match was posted, prompting Ryan Satin to apologize for reporting the story. It was also this year that Ryan Satin would have a Twitter exchange with Jim Cornette, which got ugly very quick. It all started when Jim Cornette posted a response to an invisible stand spot from GCW. He responded saying the following: "Allow me to publicly apologize for praising Mance Warner on MLW TV and podcast. Rules are rules, and you won't hear any more of it from me. Fucking hell. Does anybody wonder why I rarely say anything good about anyone anymore? Hashtag disappointed, hashtag needless bullshit, hashtag disgusted." This got a response from Ryan Satin which reads, "Honest question in an effort to understand your mindset. With the way wrestling has changed due to most knowing it's a work, do you not believe there can be different rules for different promotions? It's been established that there are invisible brothers in GCW and fans love it. Number 1, they aren't fans of wrestling, they're fans of goofs. Number 2, when Meryl Streep stops a scene in Broadway play to whip out a dildo and slap someone with it and no actors or fans of Broadway plays get pissed, you may have something. Otherwise, shut the fuck up, cause who are you anyway?" Ryan Satin responded again, "Why insult me for trying to understand your mindset? I didn't say you're wrong or anything, just wanted to get a better idea of why you're so angry to enlighten myself going forward. Sorry I tried to have a civil conversation with you." Jim Cornette responds, "Cause you're part of the epidemic of reality TV twats, viral attention whores and community theatre wannabes who talk about wrestling like it's high school drama class and everybody gets to take part. The Ryans and Janellas and tampon girls of the world who embarrass our business. If you really fucking think that because some mudshow goofs have invisible brothers and all 42 of their fans love it, that's not a mortal insult to wrestling and deserves somebody having their fucking ass whipped over it, you and I got nothing to talk about." Then the next year they would find themselves in another heated Twitter exchange, this time when Ryan Satin criticized AEW owner Tony Khan when he pre-show asked the fans not to cuss because they're on TV, and this prompted a response from Jim Cornette and a very rare moment in which Jim Cornette defended AEW. This fucking wannabe garbage TV host actually blisters Tony Khan for asking fans not to cuss at a TV taping. I got you on this one, Tony. Hey dipshit, that's not censorship. That's doing an acceptable all ages show and not pissing off the network. Fucking moron. Hashtag right is right. Ryan Satin responded, "God, you're dumb. The show is TV-14. Sounds like someone woke up in a cranky mood after a bad cocking session." Jim Cornette responded, "TV-14. Typical amateur. Just because talent can cuss a bit doesn't make it okay for the fans to scream fuck over and over. Also, it's fucking session. I don't blame you for not being able to spell it since you've never actually done it. How's that porn star you were stalking?" "No, I meant cocking, because you're known to enjoy watching people fuck your wife. There's a difference. The porn star thing is a made up story, unlike the stories about your cock sessions in the hot tub. Please continue to beg for jobs though. It's entertaining watching your desperation. I'll be over here doing whatever the fuck I want. You're dismissed for now, but I'll be back later to tell you more things that are wrong with you, turd blossom." What the hell have I just read?
Yeah, what did you just read? So I think it's a bit understandable that Jim Cornette is the way that he is, since he's from a different school of like wrestling individuals. So the fact he's so strict about wrestling makes sense to a degree. Santino Marella.
In 1999, Cornette became part owner and head booker of Ohio Valley Wrestling, aka OVW. At the time, OVW was WWE's leading developmental territory, and Cornette's time in OVW was a huge success all around. WWE credit him with being one of the people who helped to foster stars such as John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, and Lesnar, people from that elite class of OVW wrestlers. And while working for OVW, Jim Cornette of course worked with many future WWE stars, and in typical Jim Cornette fashion, he did not get along with all of them. Cue in Anthony Corelli, the man who would go on to be known as Santino Marella. Corelli began training at OVW in 2005, and it wasn't quick for him to rub Jim Cornette the wrong way. In July of that year, he was in a storyline where he was supposed to act afraid of the boogeyman, but instead, Corelli no-sold him and laughed at him. This infuriated Cornette, who slapped Corelli backstage. Cornette was suspended for this and eventually fired from OVW. But the animosity between these two would not end there. In 2007, Corelli, who was now on the main roster as Santino Marella and had just had an Intercontinental title reign, publicly challenged Jim Cornette to a match. Jim Cornette, keep in mind, was working for TNA at the time. This was a real beef. And I once again cannot stress enough that even after a decade after 2007, the animosity didn't end, because we got this video just a few years ago.
I've never had respect for you to begin with. You were sitting there thinking, you don't need to settle in, motherfucker. We got witnesses around here, and I ain't going to fight with you. Get the fuck out of my way. Hey, you know what? No, you did it the wrong way. When you shot a parade, yes, you became a goddamn joke. Yeah, you're my joke. You became a joke. Yeah, there's a way. Because you couldn't do anything else. Because you were a fucking joke. Get the fuck away from me. I'm trying to walk away from you. Hey, look at this guy. He's trying to start a fight with me, and I'm trying to walk away from you. Motherfucker, I don't have...
Omega, or Twinkle Toes McFingerbang.
It's always been well known that one of the wrestlers Jim Cornette dislikes the most is none other than AEW's ace, Kenny Omega. Omega himself is also a bit of a polarizing figure in the wrestling world, mainly due to his style of wrestling and many people's beliefs that he is the best wrestler in the world today, which many people also disagree with. And one of those people who definitely disagrees with that is, of course, Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette has spoken of Kenny Omega many times on his podcast and has criticized his style of wrestling as well as his past endeavors in Japan. He's christened Kenny Omega with the nickname of Kenny Olivier as well as Twinkle Toes, and the two have exchanged various back and forths, both on Twitter and on podcasts. In one quote, Jim Cornette stated if they gave Kenny Omega his way, he'd probably wrestle a blow-up sex doll on TNT, and also said that he'd probably do the 9-year-old girl.
Yeah, that was a little bit
Kenny
far.
Omega's early career in Japan, where,
That was out of
as
hand.
you guessed it, he wrestled a blow-up sex doll once and a 9-year-old girl once. And this was all in response to Kenny Omega stating that he wanted an intergender division in AEW. And there was also this Twitter exchange following the time Chris Jericho was attacked by a fan on AEW Dynamite. Is it finally time to assume some responsibility and dial the online persona back a bit? Your low IQ man children have evolved from parroting your comments to actually acting out in attempted violence. You and I agree for the first time, this guy is a moron, or we wouldn't have been at the show with your phony ass on it. Two clarifications: unlike you, I've seen violence in an arena, and this wasn't it. And secondly, looking at your supporters, I wouldn't toss the phrase low IQ around. Hey Jim, I think you're one of the greatest wrestling historians going, and I enjoyed your work with Dark Side of the Ring. For whatever it's worth, I sincerely hope that you're remembered for your positive contributions to the wrestling business. That is all.
Okay, so there we go. That is the video. So what do you think about the enemies of Jim Cornette? Who else can you name that like pisses Jim Cornette off, or like who hates him? Let me hear that in the comment section. See you guys next time, and thanks for tuning in.